Welcome to the Rundown Podcast. My name is Abe Hicks, joined by my main man, Dylan Kearns. We are back better than ever. This is one of the most important days on the baseball calendar, and it is the trading deadline. We got some buzzer beaters here that are just still going through my phone right now of trades being finalized. We're going to dive right into it. But before we get started, Dylan, how you doing?
Doing good, and a couple more just came down. I know I don't want to sound too dated now if you're watching a recording here, but two more right at 6:10 that are coming a little late. It's Austin Slater to the Orioles,
wow,
and Mark Canada from the Tigers to the Giants. So another one. So yeah, two more outfielders on the move. But yeah, I love the trade deadline, man. This is like the winter meetings to me. When the winter meetings were good. Now the last couple of years they haven't been good. Since COVID, they haven't been good. But now it's like this is when trades and moves get made, which make me excited, you know. Oh, Isaiah Kiner-Falefa. That's another one. All right, cool.
KF is on the move.
Yep. I think he's to the Pirates.
Definitely a busy trading deadline. Was last year this busy? I don't remember it being that busy. This busy.
It was not. It underwhelmed. And I was good. I was prepared to come on today to say it underwhelmed.
Yeah.
Then Flaherty got moved, and Eloy and a couple other bigger names, I'd say. But
the dominoes started falling for sure. For sure. Well, yeah. Well, thank you all for joining in. Before we get into the trading deadline and all this information, please like and subscribe to our channel. We're wanting to grow. We are growing, so we appreciate all the support. Check us out this episode will be on YouTube, Spotify, you name it, it'll be there. And also, we want to give a shout out to our sponsor, Spiders Batting Gloves. Go check them out. They have all the batting equipment that you need, baseball equipment. Their batting gloves are amazing. Dylan and I have a pair. They're amazing. If you're in the softball leagues, go get you a pair. They got elbow pads, wrist guards, you name it. Spiders Batting Gloves has it. And just go down there and use our code RUNDOWN15. Use our code RUNDOWN15 and get yourself some batting gloves. All good there. Handle all our business there.
Yeah, paid the bills.
All right. Well, yeah, let's get right into this. We're going to start off with the Dodgers. The Dodgers beating the buzzer at the deadline. Just now acquiring Jack Flaherty. Also acquired Amed Rosario. They're really busy here. What do you make of the Dodgers? Busy deadline.
The Dodgers love these players that can play multiple positions. They do. That's the kind of players that they acquire. They're interested in. You remember Kike Hernandez last year. And on this team, they get a Tommy Edman who can play infield, outfield. Amed Rosario, who played some outfield in Tampa Bay, which is the second straight deadline that they went and got Rosario. Kind of weird there with how that worked out. But he can play infield. He can play outfield. And then you got other pieces that you bring in there, more that could play infield, outfield. So I think the Dodgers, they really made moves that give them more depth in multiple positions. And that's something that they've prided themselves on for a very long time. So I think with the Dodgers adding those pieces and then Jack Flaherty, another arm that's a capable arm to that rotation, I think he is a better upgrade than Lance Lynn was last year to that ball club. I think he gives more innings. He has more command and is a better upgrade in terms of swing and miss.
Yeah, totally agree with you. The Dodgers, their mindset is always World Series or bust. And every year when it comes to the deadline, they're always looking at a way, hey, how can we make this baseball team better? They did it a few years ago with acquiring Trey Turner. They do it with a few years ago with trying to get Max Scherzer. This team is always looking to, hey, how can we get to the World Series? But not just how can we get there. How can we get to the World Series and win it all? That's their mindset every single year. I wish more teams would take this approach because the Dodgers, they're never scared. If somebody in that lineup is not doing their job, Miguel Vargas, they tried with him. All right, let's move on. Let's get Tommy Edman. Let's get Amed Rosario, And so they're always thinking Bobby Miller. Bobby Miller's not getting the job done. All right, let's bring in Jack Flaherty and get a veteran here who has Cy Young potential, has been so good this year. That's just the Dodgers mindset, and I love it.
They don't really like their prospects that much. They traded a Verdugo. They don't care. They're with a couple times they'll bring them up and they'll play them, like you see with Lux, who has had so many opportunities to prove that he's at least average, and he is just a bad baseball player on all levels. They try it with Jock Peterson and Bellinger. There's people they try it with Outman, but I mean, at the end of the day, if they don't think they're going to contribute, they'd rather get a proven baseball player in there.
No, for sure, for sure. Now, moving on from a big city contender to an East Coast big city contender, the New York Yankees. The New York Yankees made a splash the other day, acquiring Jazz Chisholm from the Miami Marlins. And obviously, the Yankees have had some infield issues. They've had some issues all around that lineup, nobody being able to contribute. Adding Jazz Chisholm is a very, very good addition, in my opinion. He's a dynamic player. You can slide him anywhere in the order. You can bat him leadoff. You can play him in the outfield. You can play him in the infield. As we just saw, he smoothly played third base for the first time against the Phillies. With this power, speed, and position versatility, most importantly, he plays with so much energy, which this team needs. Jazz definitely makes this Yankees team better. Not saying that they are World Series favorites again, but it sounds like, and it looks as if Cashman in the front office there in New York, they are expecting to rely heavily on the starting pitching to get their act together. I'm talking to Garrett Cole. I'm talking to Nestor Cortez, Marcus Stroman, Carlos Rodon. If the pitching can get right alongside with the acquisition of Jazz Chisholm with Soto and Judge in that lineup, they can make a deep postseason push and win the AL East.
You know what made me mad
What?
about this whole trade? Gleyber not saying that he'll move to third. Like he can't play shortstop or second anyway. So what's it matter if you stick him at third? You're making Jazz, who just got traded, life-shaking news, moving across the country, or I mean, it's just up the coast, but still pretty long, far away. And what is Gleyber gain on this? He's just ignorant. He's
selfish.
In the offseason. I'm a second baseman. No, shut up, you're not, because you came up a shortstop. Okay, knock it off. Like you're going to make Jazz learn a new position mid-year. That's not who the Yankees traded for. If they wanted him at second, they know he can play second. He plays an elite second base. He's average in the outfield, but now you're going to have to put him at third because Gleyber Torres is ignorant. That's ridiculous. I mean, that pissed me off to no end.
I agree. And Gleyber Torres he's not good at second base. He's one of the worst rated defensive players at second base. And you're going to sit here and complain. Jealousy from Jazz Chisholm, who is a really good second baseman, and not be a team player and not play a different position. If you're going to act like that, you can get off the team. If I was Cashman, I'm like, oh, you have that attitude? I'll go trade for another third baseman that will actually freely play. And shout out to Jazz for being that team player. But the Yankees can't keep those kind of guys in the locker room. Not if you're wanting to win a World Series. You cannot have that selfish approach. But moving on to the Atlanta Braves making a familiar move with a familiar player. Jorge Soler will be back in the ATL. What do you make of that?
They also got Luke Jackson back in that trade.
That's true.
So, I mean, it's to get two familiar friends back in that they're Braves are funny, man. Anthopoulos, in all reality, everyone that looks at this roster from the outside would say, yeah, this is a lost year. Austin Riley missed time this year. Acuna's done for the year. Strider's done for the year. Fried's missed half the year. Michael Harris has been hurt. Sean Murphy missed half the year. Like, you would just chalk it up. All right, this is a lost year, whatever. Not Anthopoulos. What does he do? He gets Eddie Rosario back. They won him something in 21. What does he do? Jorge Soler, baby, loaded up. Who else he end up getting? He brings back Luke Jackson to that bullpen. So it's just weird. I think the Braves see themselves on a different level than everyone else. But in reality, like, they're a team that's hovering around 500 right now. So it's not like they're too special. I think they should have just sat back, not given up any assets, and realized, it's all right. We're going to be okay. But no, they went all in and tried it again. So Soler is now going to have to play the outfield because
Ozuna's not playing.
Ozuna's not going back out there. So
yeah, that might handcuff them a little bit defensively. But I definitely agree with you. They have that winner's mentality, and so try and get familiar faces to capture that fire again. You just never know what will happen. It's going to be a big push for that NL wild card. And as we get into our next topic here with AJ Preller and the Padres going after Tanner Scott, they are also looking to push very hard for those wild card spots. And obviously, I think it's a good move. Padres had the sixth worst bullpen ERA in the NL. So acquiring the best closer on the market in Tanner Scott is a pretty solid move. Scott currently has a 1.18 ERA, It was just in his first All-Star game. Now he is in a position to pitch in high leverage innings with significant meaning. Being in that NL wildcard race, it's going to be a dogfight. It's going to be a dogfight for those final wildcard spots. And this may be AJ Preller's last shot at this. So bad bullpens can lose you games. So why not go get one of the best ones to stir up any problems you may have?
Yeah, I mean, I look at this, dude. Preller is weird. I don't get it. Like, he literally took Moneyball to life.
Literally.
Like, without the terms of like the contracts and the money in terms of that, but I mean the movie where Billy Bean just makes move after move after move. Oh, you don't like him? All right. We got Mozeliak on 2. All right, Mozeliak. Nope. We want Dombrowski. Dombrowski on 1. Like, this is Preller. He's making these moves where he's trading everybody. And I did a little bit of a dive here, and we always roast him. He's giving up the future. He's giving up the future. Yeah. He's trading for Darvish. He's trading for Musgrove. He's trading for Soto. He's trading everybody, right? He doesn't care. Well, here he goes again. He gives away his 2 top 10 prospects. Wade Polly was in the deal, who was his starting third baseman in Japan to start the year. And I think this whole Preller mindset, although we may roast it, it gets his team somewhat competitive. And I mean, they might as well try. They're 57-51. But you look at the San Diego Padres, I think there's only one name that has actually done something that has been a minor leaguer that's come out of one of these trades that he's made that hasn't made him look like a complete and utter idiot. And it's Trey Turner. That's the only, like, oh my gosh, player he traded. I mean, James Wood, it's still out there. Mackenzie Gore, it's still out there. These were big name prospects.
C.J. Abrams.
Yeah, I guess you could say Abrams.
Yeah.
He's turning into a solid ball player. But I mean, other than that, he's traded just a lot of top prospects in his system that maybe he accurately evaluated. There isn't a single player in the Yu Darvish trade that's even sniffed AAA yet. So I'm just saying, I don't really know.
He's not a prospect hugger, I'll tell you that. He's not like a lot of these clubs that love to keep their prospects in arm's length. And nope, he's not that type of guy. So
yeah. He's an interesting cat.
Just got word the Orioles have made a late push. Did you already say Gregory Soto?
I did not. That's a new one.
That is a new one with the Phillies. Okay. Wow, Orioles making some late pushes too.
Why are the Phillies doing this, man? They're weird.
I don't know. Phillies are being really weird too. But yeah, as we've gone through some of the big name trades so far through this deadline, we're gonna go ahead and give I know it's early, but we're gonna go ahead and give our trading deadline winners. Dylan, who you got?
Pittsburgh Pirates. Maybe not like, oh my gosh, they won the World Series today, right? But their front office showed that fan base that, hey, we're gonna try. You know, the Pittsburgh Pirates sat there and said, we're going to try. They acquired Brian De La Cruz, a solid outfielder. The Pirates outfield has needed help since the days of losing Polanco and Marte and McCutchen. I mean, prime McCutchen. Since then, they've got Brian Reynolds, and that's been it. Sawinski's up and down. They've never really had a right fielder sustainable out there. So I think this move of Brian De La Cruz just gives them another right-handed bat that they desperately needed. I would have preferred Luis Robert. I know that probably would have given up more prospect capital than they would have hoped. But getting a Brian De La Cruz in there is a great move for them. And they made a good move there with Brian De La Cruz. And then they made a Isaiah Kiner-Falefa trade earlier. That's a versatility piece. They can move around. Their depth got better in that aspect of it. They acquired a lefty, Jalen Beeks, from the Rays. That helps out their bullpen, which is a solid pen when healthy. David Bednar in the back end, Aroldis Chapman, Colin Holderman. Like, there's some solid pieces in that bullpen for them. And the rotation. I mean, if they truly want to give Skeens the full ride, they might as well give him the full ride and give him a shot here, because this team's going all in, at least from the outside, it appears.
Yeah, no, it's really good with those two top of the line pitching gurus they got in that rotation right now. It's definitely very nice that they add some help in their outfield. So I'm going to stick in the Central here, but I'm going to go to the AL. My trading deadline winner, the Cleveland Guardians. I love the addition of Lane Thomas. He's a good, solid bat that can make an impact in that lineup instantly. His power has declined from last year, but his elite speed will play really well in progressive field. And in that lineup with Stephen Kwan, Jose Ramirez, Josh Naylor to do all the heavy lifting power-wise, I think it's a great move with low cost, and he has club control through 2025. I also like the move to get Alex Cobb too. That's who's been on the league for a long time and is just reliable. He has a sub-4 ERA and costs way less than what the Orioles gave up for a pitcher with the worst statistics today. So we'll get into that later. But Cobb is a veteran. He's going to get the job done. He's going to eat innings and be a net positive in that clubhouse. Kudos to the Guardians front office.
Yeah, I think with that move there, I had him down in our next segment. I love Lane Thomas. Power, speed, combination. And they're another team that was one outfielder away. I think maybe not an outfielder away from the World Series, but I think they needed it because they have needed outfield help for a very, very long time. Stephen Kwan's the only thing out there. Center field's an absolute question mark. They tried Miles Straw a couple of years ago. That's terrible. They got a little half-season run of Mr. Oscar Gonzalez, who turned out to be a bust after that. So they have needed help, and I think they finally got it with Lane Thomas. He's a great addition for them as well. The Guardians, going back to Cobb too. He hasn't pitched this year. They sent him out on a rehab assignment, so he's going to be ready to go to make his debut. But once again, he was an all-star last year, looked really good in San Francisco. I think that's a great piece.
Yeah, I agree as well. For those that are listening, drop in the comments, watching on YouTube, let us know who your trading deadline winners are. Do you agree with Dylan and I? If not, drop them down in the comments. Moving now from our winners to the losers. Dylan, who is your trade deadline loser?
My loser, it's sad. I'm staying in the AL Central. I'm going with the Minnesota Twins.
Oh, okay.
Like they're in second place, or they're second place. They're right around the Royals in the AL Central. So I mean, they're one game above them, 58-47. That's 11 games over 500. You'd think that they would make a push. Like that team is not far off, and they could have used another piece. Trevor Richards doesn't do anything for me. That's just a journeyman extra innings eater. That I mean, the innings aren't good when he eats them. So, I mean, I think they could have done more. I know they were one of the teams that were very financially hamstrung here with the moves that they made. So I knew they didn't have a lot of money to take someone in. So they probably looked up to the Guardians in the division and said, all right, the AL's loaded. Even if we did sneak in, we're just going to lose like we've done every single year for the past 30. We made it to the playoffs. So I don't fault them for that, but I think they should have done more in the position they were in.
Yeah, it was like until 5 o'clock until they actually made a move. It was really late, and I'm really surprised. It's like the going prices for pitching was too high for them, and so I they were just happy staying back, and it looks like as if they're just one to fight for a wild card spot. So my loser, it's two here, like 1A and 1B, and one of them might kind of surprise you. I'm starting off with Detroit here. And I know they just traded Jack Flaherty, but pitching is at a premium. And you saw what the Orioles gave up to get, his name is
Trevor Rogers.
Yeah, Trevor Rogers. You saw what the Orioles gave up for Trevor Rogers, and you couldn't move Tariq Skubal. The Tigers should have moved mountains to get rid of Skubal. You're not going anywhere this year. They are 13 games out of first place in the AL Central. 13 games. You're not winning anything this year. You could get a haul from a team like the Orioles. And I'm going to talk about them next. They're one of my losers. And I know they made a lot of moves today.
I thought about it.
But it's not significant. And I'm going to tell you why. If you're the Orioles, go get Tariq Skubal. You've been in the bottom 10 in MLB in ERA, opponent's batting average, and hits over the past month around the league. Their pitching has not been good, and it's why they haven't been able to pull away from the Yankees when the Yankees were sliding. I understand the move getting Trevor Rogers, but if that's what you had to give up, Connor Norby and Kyle Stowers, you might as well go get Tariq Skubal or Jack Flaherty. Now, with that being said, you would probably have to give up Jackson Holiday, and I am more than okay with making that move. Teams need to stop prospect hugging. Are you trying to win a World Series or just make the playoffs? And I'm talking to the Orioles. Acquiring a pitcher with the ERA north of 4 in Trevor Rogers is a move to just make the playoffs. You want to put your foot down and let everybody know you're playing for the World Series? You go get Tariq Skubal. As of now, he's going to be the AL Cy Young winner. I don't care if the price is too high. But you know what? When you're trying to win a World Series, there's no price too high. And I think the Orioles might have dropped the ball here.
I have a lot of opinions on that. First of all, I agree the Orioles are a loser. Second of all, they're not getting Flaherty because they tried it last year and he sucked there. So they didn't want to do it again.
I get it, yeah.
Third of all, I don't think Skubal was ever on the market. If you're Detroit and you finally have some sort of shine, and they're not far away. Like, I went in this year saying that the Tigers would win that division. And their offense is just abysmal.
I was going to say, none of their bats have developed at all.
It's terrible. It's a horrific offense. But I think that they can make some tweaks in the offseason to get some actual bats in there. If they just sign 3 hitters, they don't have to be world beaters. But if they would have traded, they still can in the offseason. If they brought in someone like a Brent Rooker, or if they got just a couple other pieces that just hit the ball. You can piece it together with what you have. You can't trade an ace like that, and then you're really relying on kids to develop, and you're going to lose that city again. And I just think with Skubal, they have something. When Casey Mize is healthy, I think he's a decent, if not solid, pitcher. But they have enough pieces there where they've been smart. They signed Lorenzen last year. They got Flaherty this year. Like, they have been smart with signing guys, developing them, getting them to their peak, and trading them. How about maybe they can do that one more time and keep these guys and see what happens? I think Skubal was never on the market. In terms of what the Orioles needed to give up, I don't think that Holiday was ever in their cards.
It should have been. You want to win a World Series? It has to be.
I agree. And you didn't mention they added Zach Eflin as well. But
it doesn't do anything for me. That's not win a World Series.
I think until the Dodgers traded for Flaherty at 6:00, I think the only pitcher that was acquired throughout the whole deadline that will pitch in a postseason game, starting pitcher-wise, is Zach Eflin. He's the only other pitcher acquired. They won't start Rogers in a game. They traded all that, and he's not starting a playoff game.
Ridiculous. That's what I'm saying. If that was the package, if that was the going rate, if that was the market for that level of pitcher, and that's why I said it was two-sided. Detroit, hey, pony up here. Let's, it's okay. It's okay to get rid of Tariq Skubal in this situation. If you're the Orioles, you want to win a World Series. You want to go get the best pitcher in the American League right now and go shove and win that division in the AL East.
I don't think he was available.
Probably not.
And by the way, Garrett Crochet got his wish. He doesn't have to pitch in the playoffs.
Yes, that's true. What I'm saying is Skubal could have been available if the Orioles dangle Jackson Holiday. If they dangle Jackson Holiday, those conversations would have happened, and something would have came up out of that.
I think there's only one world where Skubal was dealt.
For the number one prospect in baseball?
No, if Baez was attached.
Oh, yeah, get rid of that money. Yeah.
That's the only world where I think Skubal would have been gone.
Somebody would have to eat that money.
Not only that, it creates a hole.
That's good. Yeah, you're right.
It eats the money, creates a hole, and they can get a haul because they know the Orioles, they got all their players are controllable and young.
Yep.
They still haven't paid Burns. Like, they could do it, but they do need a second pitcher. I heard this on MLB Network. I don't want to take credit, but I agree once I heard it. They need another pitcher between Corbin Burns and Grayson Rodriguez, and I don't think Eflin's the guy. So They did miss a number 2 starter. They probably should have went after Jamison Tyone. He would have been a better ad than Zach Eflin. He's been a solid pitcher, and he's proven it in bigger markets, so I think he would have been fine there. But, I agree with them being a loser. I think they could have done more.
Yeah. All right, moving to our final topic of today's show. We've gone through the winners, we've gone through the losers, but what's that move, in your opinion, that's underrated, that when we fast forward to October, we're going to say, wow, this was a great acquisition on July 30th?
I'm giving you two 100% takes right here.
Okay.
Two that will be green lighted, and I will look like a genius. Number one, Austin Hayes to the Phillies. Very, very underrated. Another outfield. They've needed outfield help too. I know I've said that a lot. It's a running theme here, but it's true. The Phillies needed a center fielder. Austin Hayes is going to go there, or left fielder. He can play there. He's going to hit in that lineup, and he doesn't need to hit as often as he does. He's a great defender, and he hits the baseball. He's going to come up with some clutch hits in the postseason. I like Austin Hayes to Philly. Number two, which is a long-term move, this guy's going to be an absolute stud now.
Uh-oh.
Quinn Priester to the Red Sox. Here's why. If you look at Andrew Bailey's track record, he was with the Giants a couple years ago. He made people look amazing. He made Anthony DeSclafani get paid. He made Carlos Rodon get paid. He made everyone in that. He made Logan Webb look like a Cy Young winner, which Webb's a good pitcher, but Andrew Bailey with him was just amazing. So what does he do? He goes to the Red Sox last year. Oh, yeah, Tanner Houck, let me adjust you. You're an all-star. Cutter Crawford, let me adjust you. You're an all-star. You get Quinn Priester in there. This is Tyler Glasnow again. This is Tyler Glasnow all over again. The Pirates tried him. They didn't think he worked. Let's trade him. He gone. But the Red Sox see something.
And they're fighting for a wild card spot.
He's going to be in a rotation long-term with Bayo, Crawford, Houck. Whoa.
It's good considering the future there up there in Boston. That's a pretty solid move. My underrated move that we may look back on this once we hit fall baseball. Josh Bell to the Diamondbacks. I know his numbers aren't anything crazy this year, but a change of scenery can equal a change in performance. You drop him in a Diamondback lineup on any given night, that lineup can smash. Talking Ketel Marte, Eugenio Suarez, Christian Walker, Gurriel. They can light up the scoreboard any night. And I can't forget Corbin Carroll, who can't have much of a worse second half than he had in the first half. So if they manage to get a wild card spot, it won't be easy going for pitchers facing that lineup.
I agree. I think they got to get there first.
They got to get there.
What the Padres did, I kind of like them better.
Yeah.
The Padres have a great offense right now, one of the top in baseball.
They're still missing Gallen, right? Gallen and Kelly, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So they got to get those guys back. But yeah, also let us know if you're watching, listening, let us know who your underrated move is during the deadline. Maybe it's somebody we didn't even mention during today's show. But that's all we got for you. Let us know, what moves that you guys liked. What moves did your favorite team made that you didn't like? We really appreciate all the support. Go follow us on all our socials, Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, YouTube, you name it, we're there. We appreciate all the support, and we'll be back with some more baseball content next week.